How do I communicate the overwhelm I feel to my family after having my first child?
Mm. If you were feeling overwhelmed and you were trying to get your family or friends to understand that as well, and so just try to take the light lift of, share this burden with me a little bit. Don't scream and yell like I've done in the past, please. That's not the best way to do it. I know we most likely will have those thoughts of doing that. Like, why won't you get it? But it's, I think it comes to relatable information for sharing that with some other people. So for me, it was phone calls to my parents, like, how did you do this? Asking those kinds of questions. Like, if you were in my position, what would you do? How would you handle this situation? How did you handle me if I was like this? And asking in that sort of way feels like, for me, from a different perspective, that might get them to think like, well, you weren't like that. If you were like that, maybe it's totally different and that's really hard. Like, okay, maybe you are overwhelmed. I sometimes feel like people just don't believe us when we say we're overwhelmed. Like, we have our own versions of how we imagine motherhood to be, and well, my kid wasn't like that, so I don't know how you're experiencing that overwhelm. If not all babies can be like that, but then you got to realize, yes, all babies are different, all moms are different, and let's see how it is. But the other thing would be listening to other people's stories and seeing if you can point it out to them, because we can hear things differently from an outside source. My husband listens to other people who share their postpartum stories differently than he listens to my sharing of my own story, because he lived half of it. He lived his own perspective of my postpartum journey, but he doesn't know my friend over here. And when she shares hers, he's like, wow, did you feel like that? I can understand now in a different way. So I think asking the questions on, what would you do? How would you feel? How would you handle this, to our families or our friends, to help them understand, is one way, as well as having them listen to others' stories.